Are you a cat lover who loves the idea of owning your own cat cafe? Then this is the podcast for you. Join me, Angeli Rodriguez, owner of the Woody Whisker Cat Cafe and author of the book Drinks and Whiskers, as I walk you through my tips and tricks to help you open a successful cat cafe. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Drinks and Whiskers podcast, the place to be to get the inside scoop on what it's like to open and run a successful cat cafe. I'm your host, Angeli Rodriguez, and I am so excited to introduce today's guest on the podcast, my dear friend and mentor, Maureen Aruta. Mo is a Tibetan energy healer, a Reiki master teacher, an animal Reiki master teacher, an intuitive, psychic, and medium. She's the former motion picture industry executive who became a full-time healer in 2017. Mo specializes in chakra balancing, clearing, with an emphasis on connecting with earth energy and releasing deep emotions and trauma. Basically, work that assists in moving forward from major life changes. Quite simply, if you're feeling stuck, Mo can help you release from whatever is holding you back. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here today, Mo.
Hi, Angeli. Nice to see you here. I'm so glad that you called me in today. This is nice. I love to visit with you. I love to visit at the cafe. I love to pet the kitties and just be a part of that too. So very nice, very nice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. So for those of us that don't know about Reiki and energy healing, can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
So energy healing / Reiki, it's kind of the same thing, but it's not. So Reiki is a standardized kind of practice that was discovered by Mikao Usui in Japan in 1922. And it's a series of hand placements, it's a series of attunements, and it is a system of using what we call, I guess, connections, mantras, and just kind of spiritual practices, and it's kind of a more standardized roadmap, which I love. I became a Reiki practitioner in 2014 and became a master teacher in December of 2014 and began teaching in 2015. So I've been a master teacher for that long, but I started with energy work and energy system knowledge through the Tibetan systems. I learned Barbara Brenner systems, and that was back in 2001 to 2007. So I learned those things before, and it was a master-student relationship as opposed to a standardized structured form. So I come from both of those backgrounds, and I've learned a lot about this stuff because of that. I like it that I have that background in both, because when I teach my classes and I teach people Reiki, I bring all of that into it, as well as the standardized Reiki stuff. So what it is basically is it's a system of laying on of hands. You've heard of that, right? I mean, that's something that the Tibetan monks have done, for millennia. This is done in India. It is done in China. It is done all over the place in the Eastern countries, and it is becoming larger and larger and more accepted and more practiced here in the Western part of the world. So it's probably Usui Reiki. Reiki is known pretty much and practiced on every continent, with the exception of maybe Antarctica. Although in Outpost there could be someone that was a Reiki practitioner, it wouldn't be unheard of.
Right.
But it's a wonderful practice that basically you have learned to channel energy, life force energy. Reiki is universal life force energy through your body and out your hands into somebody else's body in order to help them achieve balance, because it's all about balance and flow. It's all about feeding enough energy into a blocked area or stagnant area so that it will flow again, to move all that stuff out. And those things, there's so much to this. I don't even know where to begin, and I could probably talk about it forever. But long story short, our thoughts create stagnant energy. They can also create flowy energy. And the flowy energy is where we want to be. So we want to learn to choose better thoughts, higher frequency thoughts, as opposed to lower frequency ones, in order to keep our chi flowing, our Reiki flowing, and not becoming Byoki, which is the stagnant stuff that becomes the problem areas. But that's in a nutshell kind of what it is.
This is so fascinating. Thank you for such a wonderful, concise explanation of a very broad and amazing topic. Uh, Mo is my Reiki teacher, and so I learned so much from her. I enjoyed her classes so much. So now this is something that's applicable not just to human beings, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually teach and certify animal Reiki, and I teach animal communication because again, everything's energy and everything's emotion, and at the core, really everything is love. So we connect with our animal friends through our heart chakras, our love, our compassion. That's how we connect with them and how they connect with us. So there is a system that you can learn to do that. And I love to teach that because I feel like it's important for us to be a part of that, the animal kingdom too. Because
Right.
we're not just humans, we're not separate over here. Our animals are our babies. They are
Right.
our companions. They are our friends. They are the ones that show us and teach us so much. And they speak to us in other ways, not just, they don't have the words that we do. So when you learn to communicate with animals, you're using all of your senses. You're using your observation, and you're using also your feelings and how you're feeling, and also learning to open up your mind to the pictures that they send you, basically, is a way to do it. Yes, I do animal Reiki too. Animals love Reiki. They love Reiki.
Yes, I actually have a wonderful story I wanted to share really quickly. Actually, the way that I first met Mo, I was on a walk with my daughter in one of the state parks that we have here in Florida. And my daughter was really small at the time. She was about 5. And she went up to Mo's very big greyhound named Shadow. And she pet him on the back. And you got to teach your kids not to always just come up, to dogs, right? And so I was like, oh no, don't touch him. And then Mo turned around to me and she said, oh no, don't worry, he likes it very much, he says it feels good. And I was like, this was my first impression of you, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And then we kind of the conversation just kind of flowed from there, and then like at the end, then you kind of explained, oh, I'm a Reiki teacher and a psychic and medium. And I was like, oh, that explains it, because I was like, oh, she said the Shadow felt that he liked it. So I was like, it was very interesting. But it just created, that was like my first connection with you, and I still remember it to this day, and I just wanted to share that with everybody. Oh, what a wonderful human being you are.
Oh, well, thank you. You're so sweet. Yeah, no, Shadow. As you know, Anjali, I recently had to say goodbye to my boy. He was very, very old, very, very sick, and on the 7th, we had to say goodbye to him, and it was really, really hard because he'd been with me for almost 10 years. He was a retired ex-racing greyhound, big black guy, okay, but the most gentle giant you would ever meet, and
so
and
gentle,
so many people, and he loved people so much, and the thing about him was his heart, his love, his compassion, and he just connected with everyone. Like if you started petting him, he and walked away, he would walk back up to you and wrap his head around your thigh and say, we're not done here yet. So he was just an amazing dog. And because of him, again, I've met so many wonderful people, including Anjali and her daughter. That was a walk we were taking over in the woods when we could still walk and do all those things. That was like 7 years ago.
It was a while. I don't even know how long ago it was, but it was definitely before the cafe, and I still remember it clear as day. It was so such a wonderful time.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about, because you did a switch in your life a little bit later on in life. You were originally in the motion picture industry, and then you switched to do this thing that you loved. You followed your passion. That's something that I did as well, and I think that a lot of people who want to create cat cafes are kind of in the same position. What was the most important lesson that you learned from your experience, kind of doing that career switch at the end of, not the end, but like, the middle of your life?
So yeah, I was in the motion picture industry for 40 years. And this work that I do, it kind of like learning about it and diving into it kind of paralleled it. And the more that I dived into it, the less fulfilling my motion picture industry career was. And so, I came to a crossroads, and I think a lot of us do that. A lot of us come from the corporate environment. We've been doing something with our lives that doesn't really, it serves our pocketbook, but it doesn't serve our spirit. And I think that there is a way to make those things kind of like balance. It's important to be able to do that. So I got very disillusioned with the motion picture industry, and I made a plan. I said, I need to have a certain amount of money in my savings account to sustain me. And then, where was I going to do it? Was I going to do it in Knoxville where I was living, or was I going to move back to Florida where I grew up and wanted to be? And so I had to make some decisions about that. But yes, I made a plan. But at the same time, I also worked in tandem with spirit. And I think everybody needs to do that, connect with their sense of the divine, however they name it, and tell God how you describe that, what it is you want. I want to be the healer full time, and I want to do this, and I want you to step forward and help me do that. And so that's kind of what happened. And also, you have to be brave enough to make the step. It's scary. I don't think anybody ever leaves, a good paying job, a lifestyle that you've been so enmeshed with for a long time without some trepidation.
Right.
So you have to basically get a handle on your fears and understand that, the most important things is a roof over your head, food in your stomach, and love in your life. All the rest is window dressing. So what is it that you have to do to get to that place where you are moving forward, and how does that look for you? So, have an idea, make a plan,
Right.
but at the same time, don't plan everything out, and don't wait until all of those pieces are in place, because guess what? While you're making your plans, your ship's sailing. So we
Yes.
don't want to wait too long,
Don't
but
wait
we
too
don't want
long.
to jump off the deep end either. So you got to find the sweet spot. What does it mean to you? How do you do it? I left my career when I was 55 years old. I reinvented myself at 55. On my 56th birthday is when I literally moved into the condo here full time to start this full time. And because I worked in tandem with Spirit, Spirit sent me a consulting gig that I had no idea I was going to get that lasted for 18 months, which was enough to help me make that transition between the motion picture industry and then doing this full time. It allowed me to find my office, set it up, do the things that I need to do, and follow that business plan. And by the time those 18 months were up, I was ready, and my business was profitable. And while it wasn't what I was making in the motion picture industry, it certainly was enough, more than enough, really, because, how much do you really need? What do you need, right?
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah, you got to find that balance for yourself. And I encourage people to do that, because, this is your life. This is your beautiful life. This is your time here. And
Right.
even though we are eternal spirits, and of course, my belief system, we come back, we recycle. But I mean, but the most important life that you have is the one right now, the one right in front of you. And if we don't step out and we don't claim what it is we want, and we don't go for that, then, at the end of our life, we have regret. And by the time I exit this body, no regrets here. No regrets.
I love
and that's
that.
the way I want to be. And that's what I help people also attain, because the only thing that holds us back is fear. And it's
Absolutely.
not real. It's an illusion. It's a complete illusion.
It is. It's just our ego trying to protect us in a roundabout way. But that's so true, and so similar to my story too. I did the cat cafe, and I opened the doors like the day before my 41st birthday. And I also stepped away from, 20 years in corporate America, where I just was unfulfilled. Like, I was making a good salary, but I just wasn't happy doing it. And I just, it's so, our stories are very similar in that respect. And I wanted to take this opportunity to share another story that I had with Mo. It was at the very beginning, after I had opened the cat cafe. It was the middle of the pandemic. There were no cars on the road. There were no people on the street. There were no customers. I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and Mo came to visit me at the cafe, and she was like, "Come here." And she saw that I was like on the verge of tears, and she sat me down, and she just put her hands on my on my shoulders. And I remember to this day, she said, "Let's repeat after me. I'm confident, courageous, and calm and able to manage my fears." And I was like, I said that and I felt instantaneously better. This 5 minutes of her time. This is what Reiki can do for you. And small business owners, you need to take care of your health. It's not an easy thing to do. You need to take care of yourself, and you also need to take care of your cats, because your cats are also going through different transitions as well. Being taken out of their foster homes, or coming off the streets and coming into the cafe and seeing people every day. And you know, I highly, highly recommend having somebody with Mo's expertise. If you can get Mo, that would be amazing. I would definitely go with her. But find somebody that can provide the service for your animals, to help them transition better, and be calm and have good lives while they're at the cafe. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, because when you, even though, there are different degrees of cat rescue as far as like the environments the cats are in. Overall, a cat cafe is one of the best environments that a rescue kitty can be in, because they're getting people come in to talk to them all the time and be with them, but it is still stressful because there's a lot of different cats in there.
right.
And again, Reiki can be such a huge part of that to help the cat settle in and to calm down and to allow people to be friendly with them, which also in turns help them find their next forever home.
Exactly.
And it's like they have to be able to make that connection. And so, and if you are a Reiki practitioner out there and you're listening to this broadcast, understand that, if you could volunteer your times at a cat shelter or a dog shelter or any kind of shelter where animals are being in a stressful environment, all you have to do is just go and sit on the floor and open up and just feed that energy into the entire environment. And I swear you will hear them all start to calm down and to soothe down. I mean, I've done this kind of work with animals for a very, very long time. And the response I've gotten, not just from the animals, but also from the caregivers, has always been positive. Not only do the animals calm down, but the people in the building that are dealing with the animals, they calm down too, because their energy has been so tied up with each other and they're all in these stress-filled kind of like states. And so when you can bring this loving energy into that environment, it calms everyone and everything and helps grease the wheels for everything to work better.
I love
So
it.
yeah, no, I have watched as it has been so transformational for so many animals. Just I literally, again, and the animals love it too. That's something else too. I have animals that literally come up to me, because they know what I do, and like their owner is like, "Why is my animal coming up to you? Why is my?" And I'm like, "Okay, it's okay." And then I kneel down, and then I talk to the animal, and I know that there's something going on. And 9 times out of 10, they've just had surgery, or they've been dealing with a
Oh.
digestive issue, or they've had a loss of another one of their companions that were in the household. So they
Oh.
always tell me about it, and they always have trauma. So, we just take that and we brush the trauma out of their field, and we hold space for them to feel better. And if you don't think animals experience trauma and loss, you're sadly mistaken. They have very rich emotional lives, just like we do, very rich emotional, spiritual lives. They even have their own agendas for coming in. So many of them come in to help us
Yes.
deliberately. They literally get hooked up with us through what I refer to as the animal husbandry spirits, which help us connect. There's a whole entourage of animal husbandry spirits that help connect and help them to heal when they pass and help them in this life too. So they're always hard at work making those connections. So, if you go to a cat cafe and there's one that keeps coming up to you, trust me, there's something there.
Yes,
That cat's trying to tell you something. You need to listen. And if there's
exactly.
more than one, take them both home. It's kind of like potato chips. It's hard to have,
Just
only
one.
one, right? I have 3 cats. I have 3 cats of my own. My old girl is 14. She'll be 15 in April. And I've had her since she was an 8-week-old kitten. Her name is Sasha. She is the princess. She's all white with one blue and one green eye. She's spectacular. She is my
Gorgeous.
princess. And then I've got Simon, who we adopted when he was about 6 months old from a humane society here in Northeast Florida. And he turned 7, so he'll be 8 in April. All of them were like the same like months. Okay? And we refer to him as our terrorist. He's my one that he's a terrorist. We love him. But he's a gray and white tuxedo. And then I've got another one that's white with a pink nose that also has the tiger stripes on him. And his name is Sammy. And again, I brought him home when he was a 7-8 week old rescue. We've had him since then too. But I mean, I have a motley assortment at my house, and he just turned 4 in April. So he's pushing 5 now, but yeah, they're all, I've had 2 of them since they were kittens and one since they were 6 months old. And I don't think that it's a bad thing to get an older cat and bring them home. Kittens are a lot of work.
They really are. They are.
And there are so many older kitties too. And kitties don't have a short life typically, an indoor cat
they can live 20 plus years easy if you take care of them. So
yeah. So, there's, especially in places like Northeast Florida where we have a lot of retirees, and, these people, they lose their lives, and then their pets, there's no place for them sometimes to go. So the cat cafes are a great place to go and find a senior kitty. When I say senior, even if you get a cat that's 10 years old, that's really, even though it's senior, it's not. Yeah. That cat could live another 10 years.
Another decade. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So every minute is precious. And I feel like, if you're looking to open a cat cafe, you could offer so much service to your community by doing that, by helping people that don't have a place for these. Sometimes the people that, their parents have passed and they've got these kitties that need a home. Well, maybe they already have kitties in their home and they can't take them in for whatever reason. Maybe they don't get along. I don't judge that, because whatever happens like it's supposed to. But having a cat cafe and providing that service and that connection for people is an amazing thing, an amazing gift that you can do. Yes, you can make your living by doing it. All you have to do is have a good business plan. And by the way, speaking of the business plans, Small Business Administration has CORE, CORE, which offers online free courses for people that are starting their own businesses. So I encourage everyone to go look at SCORE or go to SBA, Small Business Administration, in your town and see what they have to offer for you to support you when you are making this transition. You do not have to do this by yourself.
That's right. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Yes, excellent resource. Well, Mo, thank you so much. We've learned so much about energy healing today, and I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Thank you again. And thanks so much to our listeners for listening, and hopefully this helps future cat cafe owners. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful. It's always great to see you.
It's always great to see you too, Mo. Love you. Thanks for coming on. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Drinks and Whiskers podcast. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like this episode, subscribe, and leave an honest review. If you want more information, you can purchase the Drinks and Whiskers book right now on Amazon.com, or you can reach me at Angeli@wittywhisker.com. Now it's time to get out there and start your cat cafe dream. How will you warm hearts with a drink and a whisker?